Alien tentacles emerge from meteorite. Mysterious tentacled meteorite discovery in Panama sparks viral frenzy. A bizarre claim from a man in Panama has taken social media by storm as videos showed tentacle-like growths emerging from what he says is a meteorite. The viral sensation has divided audiences worldwide, with some convinced it's proof of alien life and others dismissing it as an elaborate hoax. Okay, now join us as we unpack this story on the AI podcast.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine you're scrolling through your feed, just a normal day, and then boom, you stop. There's this video, right? A guy looks pretty shaken up, and he's holding what he says is a meteorite. But this isn't just some space rock. It's silver-colored, and he claims it's sprouting these dark, slimy, pulsing ones. Yeah, tentacles. You heard that right. This story from a guy named Ken on TikTok, it didn't just get attention, it completely exploded online. Millions of views, huge arguments erupting everywhere. Some people are totally convinced, this is it, alien life. And then others are just immediately shouting, fake, it's a hoax. So our mission today on the deep dive is to really dig into Ken's story, these fascinating, almost unbelievable claims. And then we need to look hard at the other side, all the skepticism, the calls for actual scientific proof that just flooded in. We're going to walk you through this whole wild thing.
Well, it really taps into something deep in us, doesn't it? That fascination with the unknown, of maybe not being alone. And you see these psychological elements at play. Things like pareidolia, where our brains are wired to see patterns, maybe even familiar shapes like tentacles, something random. Plus, confirmation bias. People tend to look for stuff that confirms what they already kind of want to believe, especially about ETs. So sometimes it's less about the actual rock and more about what we project onto it. That's a big reason these things can go viral so incredibly fast.
That pull, that desire to believe, or maybe just witness something completely out there, it's definitely strong. So let's get right into the source here. Ken's claims. What did he actually say happened? Okay, so he says August 29th, he's in the Pedregal district in Panama, and he stumbles upon this small silver rock inside what he called a fiery crater. And right away, things were weird. He claimed it actually burned through leaves just by touching them. But honestly, that was just the start. Because here's where it gets really interesting. He then says, pretty matter-of-factly, that the rock started sprouting these dark, slimy tentacles. I mean, can you even imagine seeing that happen day by day in your own house? And he didn't just say it happened, he started filming it. Put up a whole series of TikToks. It was like this real-time sci-fi drama playing out for millions. He showed the crater, claiming it glowed at night, like this weird light coming from it. He posted clips. And the tentacles, or whatever they were, he said they spread really fast, right out of the cracks in the rock until they basically covered the whole thing. And they weren't just sitting there.
He showed them pulsing, moving when he shone a light on them, but in the dark, perfectly still. Eventually, he claimed this organism actually detached itself from the rock. And now, he says it's hiding inside a safe in his house. And there's this one TikTok that went huge where he's filming inside his kitchen, shines a flashlight near this mass, and it seems to move. And he wrote in the caption something chilling, like, every time I light it, it grove and puts me in danger. It's just so incredibly captivating, right? I like watching some old monster movie, but supposedly happening right now. And like you said, this thing just blew up online. Millions and millions of views, debates everywhere. You had people absolutely certain this was the real deal, proof of aliens landing. Then you had just as many people saying, no way, this is obviously faked, it's a hoax. It really split people down the middle, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh, completely. It's a perfect storm for virality, isn't it? A really compelling visual, a claim that's totally extraordinary. It hits that nerve, that collective curiosity about what else is out there. And social media just lets it spread instantly, without any fact-checking really getting in the way initially. Our curiosity is huge, but sometimes, let's be honest, our willingness to believe something spectacular without solid proof is also pretty high. The spectacle itself becomes the main draw.
Yeah, that spectacle factor. Huge. But the internet, being the internet, the skepticism wasn't far behind. People started digging, looking for holes. And they found things they called, red flags. Big ones. For starters, some people looked really closely at the videos of that crater, the fiery crater. And they spotted matchsticks just scattered inside it, which kind of makes you wonder, right?
Yeah. That does raise questions. Suggests maybe it wasn't exactly an impact crater, perhaps something staged.
Exactly. People jumped on that, suggesting maybe the fire was started deliberately. And then there's the whole thing with him handling it. He's touching the rock, even the tentacles later on, with his bare hands in some clips.
Despite claiming it could burn leaves on contact.
Right. It doesn't quite add up. If it's that dangerous, wouldn't you take precautions? Wear gloves, at least. Seems like a basic thing.
And beyond just the visual inconsistencies, there were other issues raised, weren't there? More technical ones.
Yeah, definitely. People who actually track this stuff, meteorite falls they weighed in, organizations that monitor the skies said there were no confirmed meteorite falls over Panama around late August. Zero.
So the very origin story that it was a meteorite immediately came under question from experts.
Precisely. That's a pretty big hole in the narrative right there. And then others started looking at the tentacles themselves. Some users pointed out it looked kind of like a known fungus, something called Clathrus archery.
Ah, the devil's fingers fungus.
That's the one. It's this weird fungus that grows these red, sort of tentacle-like arms. It hatches from, like, this egg thing.
It does look quite alien, visually striking. Often has a nasty smell, too, to attract flies.
Right. Now, visually, Kin's thing looked different. It was black and seemed oily, not bright red like most devil's fingers pictures you see. But the way it grew, that tentacled look, it made people think, maybe it's just some weird fungus, not aliens.
Okay, so you have Kin's extraordinary story on one side, and then all these inconsistencies and alternative explanations piling up on the other.
Exactly. Which leads to the big question. What about actual solid proof, scientific verification? This is where it gets really, well, quiet. Kin mentioned he'd mailed samples to friends, but crucially, as of now, there are no published lab results. No independent scientists have come forward saying, yes, we've analyzed this.
No confirmation from meteorite experts about the rock. No biologists confirming the nature of the organism.
Nothing official. The scientific community has basically been silent, likely because there's nothing concrete presented to them.
And that silence is telling. In science, especially with extraordinary claims like this, you need extraordinary evidence. It's not just about seeing a video. We need, rigorous analysis. If it's a meteorite, what's its composition? Isotopic analysis. Does it match known space rocks? And for the tentacles, the biological side. DNA sequencing, microscopic analysis. What is it made of? How does it function? The scientific method demands that kind of repeatable, verifiable data. Without it, it just stays in the realm of anecdote, however compelling the visuals might be.
That makes total sense. The bar has to be incredibly high for something like this. But, the idea itself is still fascinating. Researcher John Greenwald Jr., who runs the Black Vault website, he pointed out something interesting. He noted that if Kin's claims were somehow proven true, it could potentially tie into the whole theory of panspermia.
Ah, yes, panspermia. The idea that life might not have originated on Earth, but could have been seeded here from elsewhere in the cosmos, perhaps carried on meteorites or comets. It's a legitimate scientific hypothesis, though still debated, obviously. And yeah, finding a living, non-terrestrial organism on a freshly fallen meteorite, that would be absolute monumental support for panspermia. It would change everything. But again, that's leaping way ahead. As we've said, without that concrete verified evidence, most researchers are, understandably, going to remain highly skeptical. The standard of proof for overturning our understanding of life itself is, and should be, astronomical.
Right. So we have the claims, the skepticism, the lack of scientific proof. But then another layer got added, as it often does with these viral mysteries. Conspiracy theories started bubbling up.
Oh, naturally. The idea that they might be trying to cover it up.
Exactly. People online started warning Kin, hey, be careful. The government or some agency might show up, take your rock, delete your videos. And Kin himself sort of leaned into this. He posted messages urging his followers to download and save his videos as evidence, he said.
Feeding that narrative that he had something world-changing and powerful forces wanted it suppressed. It adds another layer of intrigue, even if it's purely speculative.
Definitely adds to the drama. So where does that leave us today? Well, for now, this Panama meteorite, the alien tentacles, it's still just an internet mystery, really. It's this potent mix of, terrifying legend and maybe a viral hoax, maybe something else entirely misunderstood. But there's zero official confirmation, nothing solid. So wrapping this up, what do we take away from this deep dive? We've gone through Kin's really startling claims, glowing craters, pulsing tentacles, all of it, and we've balanced that against the very real skepticism, the matchsticks, the bare hands, the lack of any scientific backup. It's a story that absolutely gripped millions online, sparking this huge debate.
And I think, regardless of whether it's real or not, it's a fascinating case study, isn't it? It shows just how fast a really compelling story, especially a visual one, can travel around the globe now. It also highlights just how important critical thinking is. Questioning sources, looking for actual evidence, understanding the difference between an amazing claim and verified fact. It's a constant challenge in our information age, sorting out what's real from what just feels real or what we want to be real.
That's a great point. It really forces us to question how we process this stuff, and it leaves us with this kind of lingering, provocative thought, doesn't it? Whether this whole Panama thing ends up being debunked as a clever hoax, or maybe some weird, undiscovered natural thing, or just maybe that incredibly unlikely chance it's something truly alien. It makes you wonder, how ready are we, really, as a society, to genuinely face the unknown if it actually showed up, maybe glowing from a crater not so far from home?
Okay, one question for you. If a tentacled organism truly emerged from a meteorite, would you see it as a proof of life beyond Earth? Don't forget to comment it. Thanks.